very good morning from Bolzano, Italy, the most populated and capital city of Italy's most northern province, South Tyrol. It is surrounded by these incredible forested green mountains. This morning when I arrived in the central square, there were clouds and mist rolling across those mountains, and it's no surprise that they're there because this city is located right in the Italian Alps. The winter weather has brought about some rain today, but it has been snowing as well. And I'm standing at the moment in part of the Christmas market that's not yet open, although there are sections beyond this square where the Christmas market is rocking. You can see the little huts and stalls behind me, and then just behind me here as well there is a rather large Christmas tree that I think will look pretty smart lit up later on in the day. So we're going to do some exploring here in the city. I'm hoping to look at the history, the German and Austrian influence here, walk along the river, look at those mountains, see the church. I have got lots of plans, and we are going to have, I think, a good day here in Bolzano. Look at these lovely little Christmas stalls. It is pretty much time for them to be opening up, I would say. You can see the architecture in the square here that surrounds all of these Christmas stalls is chiefly Austrian, and we'll get into why that is a little bit later on in the video, but it's a very pretty square. Church behind me now is starting to ring out. There we go. Not sure what that was for. Maybe 1:30. It is called Walther Square, by the way. More Christmas trees and pretty buildings. There is a statue up there dedicated to, let me get this right, Walther von der Vogelweide, I think his name was. And he was a famous poet who wrote love songs as well, German love songs in the 12th and 13th century, very famous for that. The square, talking about being famous, is also famous for something that is perhaps not quite as notable, but it was the scene of the first McDonald's to open up in Italy. Way back in 1985, there's a close-up of that statue. I'm going to be hiking some mountains on my trip here to Bolzano. I'm not sure if it's those ones or the ones behind these buildings here, and that's because I've kind of lost my bearings. But I think what I'm going to do now is we'll try and find the second Christmas market here that is definitely open. But before that, I'm going to go and try and visit that church. Well, that church is actually a cathedral, Bolzano Cathedral to be precise. It can be traced back to about the 6th century, and it wasn't completed, believe it or not, until the 15th century. It is in the Gothic style, has a bell tower that is about 65 metres high. It also was damaged very heavily, sadly, in the Second World War. But I can hear the organ playing inside, so I think I'm going to try and find the entrance and pop my head in and see what it's like inside. I can hear now the bells ringing on top of the bell tower, so it's all going on. These pretty little streets with all the decorations on set up for Christmas. Look at that, narrow cobblestone streets, mountains at the end there as well. We're trying to find the second Christmas market now. We'll see if we can locate it. It's a couple of blocks away from the first. you would think that you are in either Germany or Austria. Building architecture. I found the second market, here we go. This looks like the regular part of it, selling fruit and vegetables. There is a lovely little alleyway leading down that way. Flowers, spices and all sorts of sweets. Little bakery stall there. And then over here, looks like there is a water fountain. Another little side street going off down that way. There's that water fountain. Christmas tree next to part of it. Made it to a lovely little square with ponds behind me and these yellow trees just above. I'll show you a little bit more in a second, but the reason I've come here is because just behind the camera on the right side there is one of the most controversial monuments, perhaps in Italy, but definitely in this area. And it's a monument that was built following the Italian victory over Germany in the First World War. It was built during the period of fascist rule here in Italy, and I think what I'm going to do is head over there. I'll just show you this lovely little park first, and the pond. Plenty of ducks in there. I'm going to try and brave this junction. I think it's on the middle of a roundabout, and we'll see if we can make it over there, and I'll tell you why it's so controversial. You can see a rather large steel fence surrounding the monument. And that is because there have been some attempts over the last few decades to damage the monument because of its controversial statement up there. You can see now a better view of that big fence here. It is part as well, according to the sign there, of some kind of exhibition or a museum, a permanent exhibition within the monument to victory. So you can get in if you access it from the other side. Not going to do that today, but that text up there is written in Latin. It reaffirms the Italic superiority over Germanic people. And you can imagine that that is a bit of a problem because this area has a high Germanic population. There's a lot of German culture and German history in this region of Italy. After a pretty amazing morning spent in the city itself with all those beautiful little Christmas stalls and shops, tiny streets, fantastic architecture and fountains, it's incredible that just 10 minutes walk away you can get out of the city and on some hiking trails. So at the moment I've got this picturesque, beautiful river on my right side that has plenty of signs saying that it can increase in depth very, very quickly because of course of all the mountains around here, but also because of these hydroelectric plants and dams. On my left side are these incredible hills. I was just looking up there and I could see churches and little towns, castles perched on a hilltop, as well as old fortifications that were just kind of sitting there not too far away. So yeah, let's carry on along this pathway and we'll talk about some history as we do it. So a couple of thousand years ago this area was lived in by the Rhaetian people, and of course before modern day Italy the area that we now know as Italy was split between a number of tribes, and one of those was the Rhaetian tribe, the Rhaetian people. In 15 BCE, the Roman Empire, of course, expanded and they ended up taking over this part of what is now Italy, and it stayed that way. It actually became a big city in the Roman Empire because it was strategically placed halfway between Venice and Augsburg. So it became a very important city, and it stayed that way in the Roman Empire until the Habsburg monarchy took over in around about the 14th century. Things stayed that way until the end of the First World War, when this area and Bolzano were annexed by the Italian state. The people here wanted to join instead the new German Republic of Austria. They didn't get a choice, it was annexed by Italy, and then things stayed that way until the present day really, except for a few years in the Second World War, when this area once again came under the control of Germany. And we all know what happened at the end of the Second World War, and this is pretty amazing. I'd seen the castle up there on the hillside. Take a look at this. I'd seen the castle way up there, but I hadn't seen this castle here on my right side. Look at that, hidden in amongst the trees. What a spectacular place that looks. And by the way, Bolzano is the name of the city in Italian. Bozen is the name in German. You can see the big mountains there on the other side. And as is always the case, there is a lot more to the history than that. That was just a very diluted, watered down version, just for a little bit of information in the video. It is a very, very long and interesting history, so check it out if you are interested. But for now, I will say two things. Number one, the German-speaking population and the Italian-speaking population seem to be getting on just fine these days. And number two, I am now at Roncolo Castle. I've walked up the hill and I've arrived at what looks like, if I turn around, a drawbridge. That's the entrance to the castle right there. We're going to poke our heads in and just see if we can take a quick look around. I am going to also tell you that this castle was built in 1237. It's not always easy to figure out exactly when a castle was built, but this one has documents relating to its construction, and it says for sure that it was built in 1237. Just looking out now at the valley views, pretty spectacular. So if we turn around, excuse the quick pan there, that is the entrance, and through here there is a ticket office straight ahead. It looks like the courtyard to the castle is just up there. I think I'm right in saying that we can mosey around the courtyard and just have a look at these buildings and the construction for free. I think you have to pay to get inside the actual castle to look at some of the frescoes and the decorations and the furniture. It's an interesting place, but I'm not going to go inside today. Instead, what I think I'm going to do is head back towards the city centre of Bolzano and take a look around some of those markets, see the Christmas trees lit up, and just see what it looks like now. The daylight has all but gone. Back now in Waltherplatz. This is the place where I started the video earlier today. Would you believe it? The church bells have started ringing. That's the cathedral behind me. I am in Bolzano for another couple of days. Tomorrow I'm heading up into the mountains, so I'm looking forward to that. But thanks for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.